If you're a fan of fast food restaurants, then do yourself a favor by hitting that red subscribe button to be notified of more awesome stuff like this in the future. Hey there gang, what's up? Arby's is an international fast food sandwich restaurant with more than 3,300 franchises all over the globe and is declared the second largest sandwich chain in the world after Subway. It's famous for its classic roast beef and beef and cheddar sandwiches. The chain has been through a lot since it was set up in 1964. It's been a huge success for years, but recently it's been facing somewhat of a downfall. Let's dive into some of the reasons in this video why that's the case. Number 1, the debt. Two brothers, Leroy and Forrest Raffel, owners of a restaurant equipment business, found a great market opportunity for opening a restaurant chain in the early 1960s, hence they established Arby's in 1964. At that time, it was a great success and they started earning profits within months. This gave them the idea of making restaurant franchises in different states of America, as more franchises will earn them more money. For this, they took a great amount of money as loans from banks and different investors, allowing them to open up almost 500 franchises within 10 years. They took the loan as they thought they would earn enough to pay it off within the time limit, but they failed. These franchises didn't earn the money they expected, and the debt they took became the reason that they had to sign over the authority of a few of their franchises to banks and investors. We think they took the step too soon when they should have done it wisely by opening 1 or 2 franchises at a time. You need to be wise when you have to do business, otherwise it's just a waste of money. Number 2, the competition. The only reason why Arby's was successful was that they sold roasted beef sandwiches and not hamburgers. But in 1979, when RC Cola bought the chain, they started selling that too, which was a huge failure because their competition was with McDonald's. That was a huge brand of its own at that time. And every smart business person would know that you can't compete with McDonald's when it comes to fast food. It was so obvious that Arby's was going to take the hit at that time. Arby's hamburgers couldn't even stand a chance against McDonald's even for a year, which is why it failed miserably. They did move back to sandwiches, but by then they had lost their reputation and fame. It took them years to re-establish it, but still they couldn't gain what they had lost. We wish they wouldn't have experimented with hamburgers and stayed on sandwiches. Maybe if they didn't do that, they would have been even a bigger brand than Subway today. Number 3, the new owner. After the Raffel brothers cleared out their debts, they sold the company for $18 million to RC Cola, but remained in charge. Later, in 1979, they handed over the authority to them as well for $5 million. And obviously, RC Cola messed up. The biggest bad decision they took was to start a hamburger chain, but apart from this, they started opening more and more franchises which didn't work out. The change of owners was a huge downfall for the company, and the new owners failed a successful business. When they bought it from Raffel brothers, Arby's used to earn in millions from all its franchises in a month. But when RC Cola came into power, they messed up so badly that it didn't even make more than $10,000 to $15,000 a month. It was a huge failure for a company like Arby's and allowed success to its competitors. What a shame. Number 4, Victor Posner. In 1984, Arby's was resold to a guy named Victor Posner, a 66-year-old billionaire who took Arby's to the sky up until the franchises started accusing him of not thinking in the company's interest and doing some illegal stuff at the back end a couple of years later. His intentions were questionable, and the reality came out that he was only using Arby's as a cover to his real business, which was illegal. Arby's was his way to turn his black money into white. When this reality came out, it brought another wave of failure to Arby's. Victor Posner messed up everything. Arby's has been through so many falls since the beginning, but always managed to cope up with it and became successful. But this time it had seemed quite impossible for it to grow back up, but it did. In 1993, Victor Posner was being investigated for his long history of shady dealings, and it didn't end well for him. he had to get rid of the company, and this resulted in the creation of a new company, Triarch, which owned Arbys and bought success back to it. Arbys was lucky to get back its reputation even after such a case. Number 5. Wendy's deal. In 2008, Triarch bought Wendy's, which didn't work well for Arbys. They went into negative for 3 years, and Wendy's got into profit at the same time. Wendy's deal affected Arbys' success, and it was another fall phase for the ill-fated sandwich brand. Triarch changed its name to Wendy's Arbys Group, but in 2011, it was announced that Wendy's Arbys Groups are selling Arbys' side of their business so they can focus on the more successful side, that was Wendy's. They sold it to Roark Capital Group while maintaining an 18.5% stake in the company. At the time of the sale, Arbys was experiencing an operating loss for the year of $35 million, with 350 Arbys franchises more than 60 days late in royalty payments, and 74 low-performing franchised units and 96 company-owned units forced to close. Despite its cash flow problems, Arbys also reported that it had 6 months of sales growth at established stores in the United States, which it had attributed to its new turnaround plan that it had recently launched. The new owners turned the company around by closing more underperforming locations, changing the company's marketing strategy, and by introducing more products regularly. After 4 years, Arbys was able to issue $300 million in dividends, which resulted in Wendy's receiving $54.9 million for its minority stake, with the remainder paid to Roark. Every new owner brought success to Arbys, but ended up bringing a massive fall to it. We can only hope that Roark won't be like that. Number 6. Malware attack. In February 2017, Arbys reported that they were investigating a malware attack on its payment card system that had targeted thousands of customers' credit and debit cards. The malware was placed on point-of-sale systems inside Arbys' corporate-owned restaurants, but not its locations owned by franchises, and was active between October 2016 and January 2017. 8 credit unions and banks from Alabama, Arkansas, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Montana had filed suit since early February against Arbys concerning the data breach. This suit brought another wave of fall to Arbys and cost it a heavy amount of money. They had to pay millions of dollars to these banks because they were accused of a security breach. They even had to pay money to the franchises over the sea, and even many of its foreign franchises were shut down due to this unfortunate event. Arbys was infamously known as being owned by multiple owners, yet none of them bringing any continuous success to it. Well, ups and downs are usually part of the business, but every owner or company that owned Arbys gave up and sold it to someone else, all except Roark. Roark worked on the brand and fought all of the faults, making Arbys what it is today. They re-established the place and gained the trust of these franchises once again. Arbys started to gain success back in 2018. Number 7. COVID-19. In 2019, Arbys was at its best and was flying high in the sky of success. But then the global pandemic enveloped the world in 2020 due to COVID-19. All 3,300 franchises of the restaurant were shut down altogether due to the lockdown. This pandemic has brought the biggest fall in the history of Arbys because it stopped making money altogether. Arbys was shut down for 4 months, and then it was opened on takeaways and deliveries, but didn't earn enough money because people were avoiding eating takeouts. Still, some countries are going through lockdowns, and the news is that there's another wave of COVID yet to come. If that happens, Arbys should forget earning money for another few months because there are chances that the US will enforce complete lockdown once again.
This brings us to the end of our video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then let us know by liking the video. Also click on any one of the 2 videos on your screen for more amazing content. Stick around as we will be soon seeing you in another video. Until then, take care and goodbye.